There's currently renewed energy, you could say, for coal power in the United States. Most of it is from the new administration in the White House. And I've talked countless times about how this makes no sense at all. I mean, truly, it makes no sense. The same people that say they want the market to decide are trying to save an industry that is increasingly not viable anymore. Forget about the fact that Arby's employs more people than the entire coal industry in the United States, and ignore for a second that coal is horribly polluting and not financially efficient. Donald Trump still wants to save coal, and we've now learned more about how great it would be to kill coal. A new study that's been conducted by a team from Michigan Tech University reveals that if the United States eliminated coal and transitioned all coal to solar energy, you would save approximately 52,000 lives per year, and you would pump endless amounts of money into our economy. Every year, tens of thousands of people in the US die prematurely from air pollution related diseases associated with the burning of coal. We have a map for people who are watching with us, which correlates coal-fired electricity to deaths related from air pollution. And the World Health Organization has said that air pollution is the biggest cause of non-communicable disease in the world. That includes stroke, cancer, chronic respiratory illnesses, and heart disease. And the study found that indeed 52,000 premature deaths could be prevented every year if we stopped producing electricity with coal and replaced it with solar power. But those are only the health benefits. Not only are there health benefits, but switching to solar would also be really good for the American economy. Of the 52,000 deaths prevented, the scientists at Michigan Tech found that switching to solar would generate $2.5 million for each death that you prevent. Joshua Pierce, who's a professor of materials science and electrical engineering at Michigan Tech, says, quote, "Unlike other public health investments, you get more than lives saved. In addition to saving lives, solar is producing electricity, which has economic value. Everyone wants to avoid wasting money. Just based off the pure value of electricity, of the sensitivities we looked at, it's profitable to save American lives by eliminating coal with solar." Using data from peer-reviewed journals, the EPA and the Department of Energy, they also used current costs of solar plants and calculated the potential return on investment to come up with these numbers. Completely replacing all coal plants in the U.S. with solar photovoltaics would require 755 gigawatts of solar power. That's compared to the 22.7 gigawatts of solar we currently have. That would cost $1.5 trillion. So when you see that, you say, wow, David, that sounds insanely expensive. The 1.5 trillion would pale in comparison to how much money would be made off of the solar plants and saved with the solar plants. Much more profitable than coal, which is naturally dying out. One more quote from the Michigan Tech professor, quote, "Solar has come down radically in cost. It's technically viable. And coupled with natural gas plants, other renewables, and storage, we have ways to produce all the electricity we need without coal, period." My overall takeaway from this study is that if we're rational and we care about American lives, or even just money, then it's time to end coal in the United States. Isn't Trump the business guy? Isn't he going to make great deals? Doing this in the U.S., transitioning from coal to solar, would not only help Americans in terms of health, that's a pretty good deal. It would help people all over the world in terms of health, because pollution doesn't exactly respect imaginary lines on maps. But it also would be so great for the economy, and yet Donald Trump is against it, Pat.
Yeah, and of course, Trump does claim to be a great business guy, but he also is great at appealing to a crowd.
Yes.
And, putting profitability aside, putting the effects on the climate aside, there's a lot of people who work in these coal mines and they've been doing it for generations, and they want to hold on to it because it's a noble job for them. And despite the fact that they may have negative health consequences down the road, they just have always been doing it. They live in a coal town. They come from a coal family.
I get it.
And that's a hard thing to argue against.
I get it. And the lost jobs are a problem, and it's something that would have a negative economic impact, and that has to be considered. But again, fewer jobs than Arby's in the entire coal industry in the United States. And we should be critical consumers of all news and reports, even like the one I just told you about. The study misses a few things. It doesn't consider, as I mentioned, the cost of the lost coal jobs. It doesn't consider that then those people who lose their coal jobs don't have money to spend in the economy. That has to be subtracted out. Solar installations currently use a lot of copper, and copper mining is related to some pretty significant environmental disasters, and you would need copper for the solar installations. You do have to subtract out all of those things, but the benefits are overwhelming here.
I mean, it just sounds like a win-win-win to me. Not only is it profitable, not only is it good for the environment, it also helps people with the negative health consequences. Things like black lung wouldn't be nearly as big of an issue as they are now.
It's time to kill coal. The numbers say it. It's abundantly clear, and yet the president wants to do the opposite. Low energy, sad. I'm thrilled to tell you that today's episode is made possible in part by Tagadab, the hosting specialists offering a broad range of affordable and flexible hosting packages. This includes dedicated server packages, virtual private server, cloud server, custom server solutions, co-location services. Tagadab currently has an average Trustpilot review rating of excellent at 9.7 out of 10. And part of this must be because they have hosting experts who are also providing the tech support. You can actually get insight and advice and support from the people who know what they're talking about. Currently, Tagadab is offering David Pakman Show viewers a 10 British pound credit, about 12 or 13 US dollars, to try their cloud server solutions at signup.tagadab.com/TDPS.